Hello guys, as you can see right here in the bowl I have some oxtails. If you're not familiar with oxtails, they're literally exactly what they sound like. The tail of the ox. Okay? So, just to kind of give you a nice little view of these before we season them, we're going to make ourselves some oxtail. Some people call it oxtail stew. I don't put a whole lot of vegetables in mine, so I don't really refer to it as stew, but hey, to each his own, right? So let's go ahead and get started. Right now we're going to marinate these. You want to marinate them for either 2 hours or overnight. I prefer to marinate overnight myself. So let's go ahead and get started with that marinade. The first thing you're going to need is to add a little bit of vegetable oil or olive oil. You don't need much, just maybe about a tablespoon, if that. So we'll just drizzle a little oil all over, not much. I don't like to use a lot because I don't think it's necessary. And yes, you can use butter if it's liquefied. Okay, now the next thing you'll need is garlic. You can use about 3 cloves of garlic, or you could just use the granulated or garlic powder. I'm going to just use granulated for this, and I like a lot of garlic, so I always put a lot of garlic on mine. And I'll add the rest of my oil once I get everything on here properly. The next thing that you're going to add in way of seasonings is pepper, okay? Again, now pepper is totally up to you. You're going to season it the way that you want. And I have about 4 pounds of oxtails in this bowl. That's why it seems as if I'm doing a lot of pepper. Once I rub it in, you'll see it's not as much as you think. And the next thing I'm going to add is adobo. You can use accent, Lawry's, whatever you want, but I'm using adobo. I really like adobo, so you can see that. And adobo has salt in it, so, you know, I'm sorry. Be careful when you're seasoning later on, once you start cooking. Keep in mind that you marinated these in adobo or whatever seasoning salt you're using. The last 2 things that we're going to add are onion and bell pepper. Now for your onion, this is going to be about 1 small onion or medium-sized onion, and just kind of mince it if you can. Some people don't, you know, they just kind of prefer not to taste the onion. And all of your marinade, once the juices run off, it's going to go into your pot when you cook the oxtails. So it really depends on how small you want everything. And now you just rub it all in. So I'll have my daughter go ahead and start rubbing in the oxtails. And you'll just let it sit for about 2 hours. Or if you're like me, you'll go ahead and just let it sit overnight, okay? And just rub it all into the creases. Get as much seasoning into the meat as humanly possible. And then I'll come back on tomorrow and show you how to actually cook the oxtails. Our oxtails are done marinating. But before we continue on, I have to show you this sauce. You're going to use 1 part ketchup, 1 part Worcestershire sauce, and 1 part hot sauce. Choose your favorite. I like crystals, so I use crystals. And then mix it together really well. And you'll come up with a nice brown looking sauce when you're done. This sauce is going to go into your pot of oxtail stew a little later. And I'll continue stirring that later. I just wanted you to see the sauce. So set that to the side, and we'll go ahead and get started with searing our oxtails. Okay everyone, so our oxtails are all marinated. And this is just the marinade, the seasoning that you put on them. And the onions and the bell peppers, of course, that you had them soaking in. Now, all you're going to do is throw them into a skillet. Some people like to put a little oil or maybe even a little butter But all we're doing is searing them to lock in the flavor. So it's really not necessary. You're just going to let it get a little brown all the way around. And this oxtail is really big. So he'll probably be in there for a while. But you just want a little brownness all the way around. And then take it off and set it to the side on a plate. That way you can put all of your ingredients in at the same time. In a hot skillet or in the pot that you're going to make your oxtails in, add about a teaspoon of butter along with onions, celery, and carrots. You're going to saute those until your vegetables begin to look really, really translucent. Once you're done, you're going to add the vegetable mixture to the marinade mixture that you had left over. Now, in that marinade mixture, you have bell peppers, but if you don't feel like you used enough, please add more to your vegetable mixture that you're cooking. Once you add all of this together, then I'll show you how we add it all to the pot. To your pot or pressure cooker, you're going to add your oxtails, along with about 3 to 4 beef bouillon cubes. And you're also going to add the sauce we made earlier. The next ingredient you're going to add is your sauteed vegetables. Okay, now we're ready to add our sauteed onions, celery, and carrots. You're just going to add that to the marinade that you had before, mix it all together, and pour it all into your pot or pressure cooker. The next thing you're going to add is water, because you're totally almost done with this process. You want enough water to just cover your oxtails if you're going to be cooking this in a pot. If you're cooking it in a pressure cooker or even also in your pot, you kind of want to make sure you have at least 4 cups of water. But it really depends on how your oxtails sit into your pot. So you want them to be just covered no matter what device you use. And then you're going to let these slowly cook for about an hour. And then it'll be time to check them again. If you feel like you need more water, please add more water. But the oxtails are going to cook down and start making their own gravy, especially with that sauce that we added earlier.